Okay. Well, welcome everybody to the Nobodies Podcast, a podcast where artists and creatives come together and talk about their experiences and their work. Today we have the last three members of our Future First group. So I'll be introducing us.
Hello, everyone. My name is John.
Oh, hi. My name is Mario.
My name is Brandon.
And I am your host, Dre.
With the most.
So we would like to just talk about production work in the film industry, because a lot of these people, they, or the three of them, they usually work behind the scenes during actual production.
Yeah, really never in front of the camera. I'm more of behind the camera.
We're the behind the scenes crew.
We're the behind the scenes. We do all the workload, but you guys
I
never
hate
see
being
it.
in front of the camera.
As you can tell,
Yeah.
all of you guys are like very iffy.
Yeah, just a little shy.
I could tell from the tension.
We're just like all look at us.
And everyone's all like,
with
yeah.
our legs up,
Everything,
twiddling
yeah.
with our fingers.
Sweaty palms and everything.
Oh my God, yes.
Sweaty palms. Oh man.
Mom spaghetti?
we don't usually stay in front of the camera, but we love what we do. John over here, he's our great sound guy for all of these podcasts. I mean, shout out to John, honestly.
Oh,
I've been listening, I've been tuning in, and the audio is crisp.
Yeah, man. Like, John, for how long have you been doing like audio stuff?
I think I first started getting into it like in the middle of high school. I mean, growing up, I've always played music. And I think what sparked my interest is when my band, we first got into an actual recording studio, and just watching someone behind a board and just twist a couple knobs, turn up the fader, and just make something sound that beautiful sparked my interest. And I think from there, like I was starting to mess around with like smaller softwares on, online. And then I think it was like right at the end of high school, that's when I started buying my equipment, because I used to DJ back then. And then I sold my DJ equipment. That's when I started buying audio gear and microphones. And then I had a couple friends who, they were curious about, wanting to rap or do something. So I was like, hey, I'll make a beat. I bought a microphone. Let's just start messing around. And then that's what kind of paved my way into, I started going to college and started learning more into it. And that's what really expanded my knowledge into it. And then, I don't know, ever since then, I've been doing a lot of freelance stuff here and there just to gain experience while I was in school. And yeah, so it's probably been like over 10 years of like audio experience, I guess you could say.
Man, 10 years in the industry here.
Shoot.
We're talking to a veteran, to be
Yeah,
honest.
No.
No, I mean, I enjoy what I do, and I'm humble that I get to do what I love to do.
No,
Whatever
yeah, I
opportunity.
like that.
Definitely.
I mean, same thing goes for me. I think all of us really, it's just that we're in a position where we can actually do what we love to do, and that's I really love that part.
Mhm.
We go through the hardships of like putting in all the effort and all the work, but at the end of the day, we're just like, man, I love this.
It's rewarding. It's a
rewarding
feeling.
It's so almost fulfilling, really.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I want to hear more from Mario too.
Yeah,
What's
Mario.
Mario's back end?
Well, I'm more into the production side of it. As much as I would like to do some other aspects of film, I just like the production end of it. I like collaborating, working with people for sure, being like all together and stuff, working together to make something towards a goal. But besides that, like I'm starting to writing more. I'll write like a little few things here and there just to kind of get like my ideas out of my head. Because like I do plan one day to make like a full feature film. And, I feel myself like I'm just like, sometimes it's so real when I work on like a set or something like that, just for the fact that a couple years ago, I was just dreaming about working with other people.
Right.
And now that I'm actually doing it, like I'm still in the very beginning stages of it.
Mhm.
But as I'm doing like a little bit more and more and more, it's like, this is what I want. This is
Yeah.
great. Now, if only I cannot be in front of the camera, that'll be even better.
The entire time, Mario's just gonna be like this.
I'm just gonna be like,
Hey, don't look at me.
We irritated.
Mom, I'm scared. I want to go home.
I will go home.
Well, funny enough, me and Mario go a little bit back, because I first met Mario when we were working. At least it was at my first job at Sam's Club, and then he knew that I was starting to get into audio, and he was doing film, and I've always had the interest of film, but like I didn't get further into it as much as I followed the passion with audio. And then even from that, we've worked on a couple of small projects here and there, like,
Yeah.
you know, as we're going through school and just learning stuff. And while we're working on projects, I'm learning a few things from him, and hopefully he's learning a few things from me.
Yes, definitely. Audio,
Yeah.
knobs, fader. Yeah.
Love it.
No, like it's so crazy because like as much like I'm not saying I do not have an interest in audio. If anything, I'm just scared of it because there's so much to it. Like
Mhm.
some of the stuff that like John plays close attention to, for me it would just go over my head. And like I've taken an audio course before in college, and like we had to like make like this whole like recording track through analog. And yeah,
I do
you took that
remember.
class too,
Yeah.
right? So I just remember like I was freaking out because I was like, all right, this is the drums, this is the equalizer. Does it sound good?
Yeah.
Sounds like shit. Okay, let's do this again.
It's very technical.
It's
you
very
know?
technical.
Yeah.
and
But
I
see,
was-
it's so funny because it's complete vice versa for me. Like,
Yeah.
for me, like audio, like, I mean, it eventually started making sense to me, but
Mhm.
like how you guys describe like film and lighting and stuff, I'm just like, yeah, okay, word, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to take like mental notes. I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, that looks good.
in order to use lights, turn it on.
No,
And so yeah, it was very intimidating to me. And just like, you know, you had an audio class, I had to do a couple film classes
Yeah.
where we did one that was like audio
Mhm.
for video, and I thought it was gonna be more of a post-production thing, because that's more my stronger element, is doing a lot of post-production work.
Yeah.
But no, it was one of those like, all right, you gotta rent a camera, you gotta write a synopsis and write a script and like tell a story, record it, get people to do it. While during a crash course, this is like 6 to 8 weeks to get like
Ooh.
a 5-minute decent production done.
Yeah.
And this has come from someone I'm like, okay, I don't really know how to work a camera. I don't know the certain angles and stuff, so I'm just gonna kind of
Mhm.
wing it. And I hope I still have that somewhere on my hard drive, because I would love to show you guys how horrible it was.
Definitely.
Just so you can see all the errors of me just like trying to get by. But the audio I think sounded good because that's where I spent most of my time, man.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, it's like the same thing. I got pushed in this class where it's like we're trying to learn stuff, and I'm just like, this is too technical for me to like take in. Let alone
Yeah.
I'm trying to focus on like the audio side of it.
Uh-huh.
So it's just funny like how you guys say like, you know, like with audio to you guys, it's like how it is for me with film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would argue that audio is more important than I mean, I'm a cinematographer, and I still believe that audio is more important than visuals, just because I've seen some really nice visuals, but the audio was pretty wasn't that great, you know, and it was just hard to like tune in, you know.
Yeah. There's
Whereas-
always that phrase they say, like, the less you notice the audio, the better job you did.
Mhm.
And that works so much that like as long as like the audience is watching something and they're in that environment of the
Yeah.
film, because sometimes like imagine like watching Transformers and like the sound did not sound good, seeing all the crazy visual effects that, and as soon as you hear something that doesn't make sense, it's gonna take you out of that trance. So you've noticed there's something with the audio.
No, yeah.
So the more you just kind of go with it and like stay in that trance, that's where it's like, you know, the less you notice it, the better job you did.
No,
Yeah,
yeah. The
sure.
audios are
Definitely.
decent. I just lose myself in the movie because there I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
The movies lose me, not the
Yeah.
audio. But yeah, I really enjoy. I remember taking that same class with Mario. What it was not with you though, right?
No,
no,
I-
it was not.
I think I was one of the last people to take that class because after I was done with that course,
Mhm.
they just took it off of the program.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Oh man, yeah. I find it really lucky that we actually did that class, because I think that was the last few classes that actually showed us how to do proper mixing, all analog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right?
That's actually pretty crazy to get into. Like, not even starting with digital stuff, because analog is a little bit more complex. You're
Yeah,
kind of working
it
more
was-
with
it
like
was-
electrical current rather than like doing something digitally done.
Yeah, and so we actually had to go through the parameters and plug
Yeah.
everything in, you know, to
Oh my
actually
God,
get the
yes.
sound. You remember that, right?
Yeah, it's all coming back to me again. Like
flashbacks.
I
Right?
had to
Nom?
take a photo every day I was there just so I don't forget it by the time I get back.
Yeah, that's
And
what
I
did
think
too.
by like I forgot how many weeks I was working on it. Like towards the end of like the whatever the course, like I already have it memorized. So I was just like grab them here, and it's good to go.
Mhm.
Did you guys have to mess around with something called a patch bay?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
we would patch in.
Okay, then I know
Yeah.
exactly what you guys are talking
In
about.
Every,
I was the same way when I was like learning analog stuff, and it starts off easy because it's like simple, just like follow the signal flow, but you're using too many of those TT cables, and like the
Mhm.
more you start plugging stuff, the more it's very easy to lose track of what, you know, where everything's going.
Mhm.
But it gets pretty crazy. It's intimidating.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
like,
sorry.
I don't know what's going on.
Oh, sorry.
I feel like I'm a watcher. Like, what's going on here?
I'm sorry. Are we
It's
that
okay.
boring?
It's okay. No, because you guys are talking about a bunch of technical stuff, but like, I mean, you guys know very like at least the basics. I know nothing, and I'm like, oh,
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, a lot of it is very technical.
Yeah.
Like when we like how John said like our passions in terms of our specific like skill sets.
yeah,
Like that's what clicks for us,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
And
definitely,
that's like
definitely.
almost a natural flow of like our life, you know. It's just like,
Mhm.
oh, I obviously have to patch it in like this, or, you know.
Would you say it's almost like a state of nirvana where you're just like
Yeah.
just going with it?
It just
Yeah.
go like when you like drive,
Uh-huh.
but then you don't realize you're driving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
like
like
that
that.
same.
It's just that state, and you know, at least for us, you know, that's I find myself at most. I wouldn't say peace because it is still pretty. It's still pretty hectic most of the time. But
Dude, production
just,
stuff, there's no peace there.
There is no peace.
But I feel like it's just one of those things that because you're so invested into it and you want to make sure you do a good job on it, that you go
Yeah.
further and beyond. Like as opposed to like if I was working for like a 9-to-5 job that I did not like at all, it would be very hard for me to try to have that drive to do more than what I'm supposed to. But when I'm doing
Mhm.
something that I love, like it naturally comes with it. I'll go above and beyond with it because I enjoy what I do.
Tell me about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, definitely. Like you'll have those moments of like I don't want to do this, but then at the same time you're like I want to give my full 100.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like how you're saying a 9-to-5 job, like you're just at least for me, I'm like I want to go home. I don't want
Yeah.
to be here. Like,
Say,
but that's definitely like the whole mindset
Mhm.
of doing a 9-to-5. Whereas with doing this something that we
Yeah.
love.
And yeah,
you're
don't get me wrong,
definitely-
like it's still like it could be very draining. Like after you're done, just like, oh, I'm so exhausted.
Yeah.
But like after you kind of get past that state, you just kind of know like, okay, you did something that you're actually proud of. And I think that's
Yeah.
what's the most important part in the end.
Definitely.
It can be a little frustrating at first, like trying to get through a lot of trial and error with it, but in the end, like you just know that you gave it your best and you do what you do.
Exactly.
Then that's the rewarding part about it.
Oh,
Right.
I love that part. Oh man, I mean, I just clocked out of a 10-hour shift, and I'll tell you right now, those 10 hours felt like years. Whereas here, you know, I'm already like, it's already been an hour, right?
Yeah.
you know what's crazy? Because like when you're in your 9-to-5 and you're working like those like 10-hour shifts or whatever,
Yeah.
it's hell. It's
Yeah.
pretty much hell. But I've done like the same, if not even more hours, like on a production set or whatever. And for me, like I don't feel time. Like I'm just there, like doing what I'm trying to do. I'm
Mhm.
actually having fun in
Yeah.
the process, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the like I've like I don't know if I'm supposed to say this on air or whatever, but I used to work as a stagehand, which like built stages for like stadiums and like for different type of shows.
Mhm.
And like one of the shows I was lucky enough to work on was for like WWE Monday Night Raw. And I was only supposed to be there in the morning to help set up the stage and then come back at night to take it off. But as I was there, they were like, "Oh yeah, we need some more stagehands during the show. Like, you want to stay?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I want to stay."
Free
Yeah.
show.
Free show.
Yeah.
It was a free show. I got to see everything that's going on behind the scenes, except for like certain parts. Like I think the gorilla room was to have like, the big people making sure what's going on with the show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But besides that, like it was so much fun. I saw like all these wrestlers. I was like geeking out a little bit because I was like, "Oh my god, it's Rey Mysterio."
Mhm.
But yeah, it was 16 hours.
Yeah.
I was there during the show and I still had to take it down 16 hours. And it was the best time of my life. I had
Yeah.
so much fun working that.
Yeah. It just
Definitely.
it almost feels like there's not enough time to be
Yeah,
honest,
yeah,
right?
right.
Right? It's just like, man, I just wish I had more time.
Yeah, like
Which is crazy.
during like the production sets that at least I've been on, like during the time there, I don't feel tired at all. But the moment like you reach a room where you're like, okay, now I'm done working, you're just exhausted.
Mhm.
But then you're ready to go the next day,
Mhm.
which is like something that I totally love. Like coming here, I was like, oh, I'm so tired because I've been working all
Yeah.
week. But like now I'm here, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's get it done.
Let's run it.
Let's get her done.
And I'm super happy because you actually did. Sorry, back to Mario. I'm super happy because you actually told me that was a bucket list. Type
Oh
of,
yeah,
like, thing.
dude. I remember when I was a kid, I had the dream of working. Okay, well, to be exact, my dream was to become a wrestler when I was a little kid.
Period.
So that was my dream growing up. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a wrestler. I'm gonna be WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Hell yeah! But then, like, just being there was already good enough for me.
Mhm.
Honestly,
Were you the kid in the mirror with the little like belt, like act like you're doing like your little role.
Yeah,
if
the
you're playing-
luchador mask.
Yeah.
Go-
He said,
With
"Don't
the cape.
expose me."
Okay, so I had a friend who had like a championship belt, and like
Because I had one of those. And I was that
Held it
kid.
up.
yeah, I would literally. So we used to do like backyard wrestling. I'm going way off topic. We used to do backyard
Go
wrestling,
ahead.
and like we would fight for the titles.
Yeah.
So like when it would be, like it'd be in the grass, and whoever wanted would get the title, would be like, "Fuck yeah, I'm the champion!" And then next week defend the title again. Like we were
You guys were ongoing.
we were
with it,
ongoing.
yeah.
Like,
this
we
a
had a
regular thing?
storyline. We had our gimmicks. You know, it was fun. It was
Question: What was your name?
Ooh.
fun. It was just me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mario Lopez.
was just
Mario
me.
Lopez.
I didn't think about it that hard. It's just me. I want to be strong as Batista, who was my favorite wrestler at the time.
Uh-huh.
And then, yeah, that was pretty much it. And I would try to dominate every single match until my friends would be like, "Yo, man, you got to lose sometimes, you know?"
Oh.
Let me find out he's still defending his title.
I'm still defending my title.
So the question is, why did you stop doing that? We can now actually do a production and film it now.
Because I'm almost 28 years old. I don't want to
Aw.
break my back trying to do,
Hold on. Let's
trying to
move
do
the
like a
table real
moonsault or
quick.
something. Besides, you know, we don't even have a ring, man. If we had a ring,
We can make one
maybe
right
We
here.
can make one right now.
we can make one right now.
Tune in for the Nobodies
Okay.
pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view.
Watch, next time I'll come with a luchador mask.
That'd be so
Can we set up a breakaway table and
That'd
then
be
Mario
really
comes in
fun.
and just
Dude, I've been saying this like from the get-go. I'm like, if only we had the production to do like an Eric Andre intro, like how he just destroys the
Yo.
furniture
Oh,
every
yes.
episode.
yeah.
And at the very end of it, everyone brings back the old, like new furniture.
That'd be so
If only we had the budget.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm very tempted to like fall through a table. I don't
You're
know
like
why.
looking at me and at the table and I'm like, is this okay? Can I do it?
don't give him ideas.
No, like some of the folding tables that we have, I'm like, I just look at them, I think to myself, like, I can go through that. Like it probably won't hurt that bad.
You know what we need? We need a picture of the set and then have it on a sheet of paper, and so that way he just runs through it. Just run through the paper. That one I would love.
Yeah, you guys worked on
Honestly, if I try to go through this one, dude, I'll just end up in a hospital because that's thick. With two C's, that's thick.
It is.
In Russia, table breaks you.
Yeah.
And that's like fine maple, man.
Yeah. I want to move on to you, Brandon.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yes, yes.
I mean, what is there to know?
Well, I mean, you said you're a cinematographer.
I mean,
So,
I
like,
dabble. Yes.
You dabble.
Dabble.
Yeah, you dabble
a
in a lot
tad.
of things. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah,
You brought up to me a few times that, like, I don't know if I should be saying this. You like being a one-man band, which is, I think, at the start of it, a lot of us were like that. We like to do everything ourselves, but then again, like we
Mhm.
realize the moment we start getting into like actual sets, we realize that like this is a team thing.
hmm
So like, I want you to go off about what you do.
Well, I mean, I did start off as a one-man band. I started off in high school, picking it up, doing school projects for, I think it was English or science or something like that, right? They wanted us to do videos, right? And me, wanting to actually think of like, I always thought of doing montages, So I picked up my phone and I started recording. And from there, I just kind of just really fell in love with that craft, right? And but here's the problem. It was a group project and I was the only one who was like, trying to like set it all up because I was trying to bootleg Sony Vegas, and I was grabbing all these programs and learning how to do all the little functions of like cutting the videos and things like that. And then from there, I was like, all right, I really love doing this. So I just started going at it. I made videos every day in high school. I brought my camera to school. Yes, I was the kid that brought a camera with the big old mic on the top. With,
wow.
Like your typical 2014 vlog style with the gorilla pod.
I used to have like the one that's like, a video camera that has a little opening flap on the side.
Mhm.
Mm.
I used to have that one.
Oh,
The
like
camcorder.
a
Yeah,
handy
The
yeah,
cam, kinda.
camcorder.
A camcorder, yeah.
We have a camcorder.
Yes, we
It's
do.
right
Yes, we
here.
do.
Yeah, we got
There
it.
you go.
No, but yeah, I used to do videos every day, and I did like a little vlog style. I took after, I don't know if you guys know Casey Neistat. I took after kind of like his style of like vlogging at the time, and I did that at school. I neglected all my homework. I went straight home and started editing and posting the same day of like
Oh,
the whole
shoot.
day. Yeah, and I did that for a couple months in school, senior year. And then, eventually from there, I just really just love going at it, running and gunning. So, I have my camera now, I had my mic, and I was just like, all right, let's go. And from there, I just pushed myself forward and forward to just try to get like honing in that craft,
Mhm.
like honing in my skills and, understanding why I'm moving the camera, why, a camera's stationary, things like that. And it really gets me going because I really just love, the end result of like, man, I really did that. My little high school self would be proud right now in terms of all that.
Do you have
But-
any? I'm sorry. Do you have any current projects that you're working on right now, or anything
Current
that you're allowed to
projects?
talk about? Like anything that you're currently working on?
Let me see. What is the next project can I talk about? Well, actually. Well, I mean, the next project I think really coming up would be the oh, why did I forget it?
The core.
The core. Yeah, the core. I was
Hmm.
gonna say Cosmo.
The Cosmo,
core.
like
the
the
core.
magazine.
And that one actually takes a lot of skills that we just recently kind of just went through. We did a test shoot of like trying to remake a Euphoria look, right? So we will be trying to do a similar emulation of that in the next coming weeks when we actually go into production, which I find super exciting because it's like a lot of moving parts and a lot of things that just go into it. But coming from that high school background where I did do that one man band stuff, right?
Mhm.
Now finally having a whole team together, having my great AC over there, second AC over there. No, yeah, but I do have a lot of people helping me out now, and to bring those visions to life. So I really love that, that now that we have this whole team together, I can really just focus in on just what I really love to do. And, over the time, I wanted to become a full editor. I wanted to become a sound guy. I actually did love sound. But I realized maybe that's a little too much for me. So,
Well, you mentioned editing. Well, I want to point out more of your color grading, dude,
Mhm.
because that
Yeah.
is like
That's great.
oh man,
that's top tier.
I do love color grading. Color grading just is I love working with color just to begin with, right?
I just thought about something. I know we were talking. You did a color grading for, was it competition or something?
Yeah. it
How
was.
did you do? Did you hear anything back on that one?
I did actually get a email and everything from the actual company that ran that, and they did actually send over some stuff.
That's
So they were just
cool.
like, yeah, we really love the work that you do,
Mhm.
keep on it. They already had a colorist, so I was not I was not in for that job yet, but that was actually more early on in terms of like colorist work
Mhm.
that I did, and just pushing colors that I didn't think I could, making the most out of these cameras and whatever equipment we have, honestly. That's what I find the fun part is that like I know now that I don't really need the best of the best. I don't need to film on a red camera. I could literally film on that handy cam, right?
Mhm.
And I would like just make it where I would try my absolute best to just polish it up and like get the feel, get the vibe,
Yeah.
because that's really what a lot of the film is about, is that you feel it.
Yeah.
You feel that you're in that environment, you feel that you're connecting with these characters, right? And just like sound, like the less that that you're working on it, and like the less that they can think about the sound, the
Mhm.
better you're doing your job, right?
Yeah,
You
just
know?
like like when they're watching a scene, like you're expected to hear these sounds that you see coming along.
You
Mm-hmm.
have something on your shirt.
Oh,
you have
I was
a
like,
fly, dude. You have a
Oh,
fly.
I was like, are you trying to cut me off?
I literally just saw that. Oh my
Oh.
god! I'm like, he's just chilling there.
Yeah.
Get a zoom in on that.
God,
But yeah, like what you're saying, like like when you go into a movie theater, like obviously if you're watching a certain scene, like you're expecting those certain sounds to happen, but
Yeah.
it's very natural, kind of like how you were describing, like like when you drive and you're just so in the zone that you don't really realize that you're driving, but it's like an instinct.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing when you're going to a film. It's an instinct that like something's gonna happen.
Mhm.
But then when you expect like like a monster to come out and the sound is not right, you're just gonna kind of be like, whoa, okay, that kind of put me out of that trance. And then the more they keep, and then like the more they keep noticing that, the more they're gonna be like, okay, I don't like the film now because of this situation, or just gonna
Right.
get them out of that element.
right.
Yeah. I remember talking to a VFX artist, right? And actually a couple of VFX artists, and they all kind of say the same thing, where it's like, the less you notice my work, the better of a job I did.
Mhm.
Because like once you notice that, like, oh, that's CG, or oh,
Yeah.
that was like fluffed up or something like that, just a little bit, it kind of takes you out. So, but the more we hone into that craft, the more we can iron out those kinks and everything, and it's great when it comes to that final product of like sound, visual, set deck, just everybody coming together, really. Shout out to all our crew here. Just saying.
Shout out to the behind the scenes.
Shout out to everyone.
They're usually not the crew, but
Shout out.
we're the ones supposed to be running the
Shout
show.
out.
But now
Shout out to the behind the scenes. Oh wait, that's us.
We're the people in the back that are just stressing, sweating to make sure everything looks good. While everyone looks good up here, we're the ones like sweating, like
We're
"Oh, God."
actually just analyzing everything right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, that light should have been moved over there, or this audio should have been closer, something like that,
Yeah.
So, and then I mean, back to my colorist stuff. I really love doing it. I love working with color. Mood is everything, honestly. And just constantly working on it. Making those like really intensive looks, like Breaking Bad, or like the Euphoria one, or something that's just like, yo, that's that world. That's that world. So I love bringing people into that world.
See, like I have like little knowledge when it comes to stuff like that. Like I make sense of it, but like I do notice when the color does make a scene better. Like if I'm watching something that's very like dark and like kind of like an eerie type of genre, I always see like they tend to be like more like a dark, like a blue color, if you will.
Yeah.
Like before, like probably if I wasn't paying attention, I probably wouldn't have noticed those type of things. But then the further I get to work with people that do film, the more I start noticing that. I'm like, oh, that does make something better. Or when you see something in pre-production and all the color just like kind of everywhere. And then when you see the final mix, you realize that just that color change made the scene even better.
No, yeah. There's a whole methodology just behind color,
Yeah.
Restaurants use it. People who do a lot of artistic work use color, So, there's the whole use of those colors.
Literally today we were trying to see if we could put gels on the lights just to like customize color. We want color.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we were trying to put gels on here, just to change up the color, right? Add a little flair. Even that just looks cool. Sometimes adding just a little color looks cool.
Yeah, and I'm like right behind you guys when you guys are like adjusting the lights. Like, oh, you got to do like I don't know exactly what you guys were saying, but I'm just like in the background just trying to take notes. I'm like, I don't know what he's saying, but I could see the difference and it looks good.
Definitely.
Funny enough, we weren't knowing what we were doing either. But yeah, I love doing it. Eventually, I want to get myself a full setup where I can actually like make sure that everything that I do is fully done through because there are like standards in color. I'm only limited to whatever my hardware is, because I have to see it through a screen. So and every screen is different. iPhone, wherever they view it. I do actually check, and this goes for my photography work too. I do actually export everything, check on my phone, check on a laptop, check on the TV, and check on my monitor to make sure everything looks on the up and up, right? Contrast, saturation, vibrancy, all that stuff.
Funny enough that you say that, because I mean, in the audio world, I kind of have to do the same thing too, and especially for a lot of mastering engineers when they're finalizing their final down mix. A lot of it you got to do, there's common like the car stereo test. Listen on your iPhone or on something that's like a weaker speaker, because obviously like in my studio I have like my studio monitors and I'm used to how the environment in my room sounds, so I know how to make it sound good in there. But then it's also another issue. You got to make sure it sounds good everywhere else.
Right.
And yeah, I kind of do like that same thing where you have to kind of keep testing out to see if it sounds good here. Like it sounds good in my studio, but then there's too much bass when I'm listening in my car, or there's not enough something when I'm listening, like on my little phone speaker. But yeah, just funny enough that, you got to put that into consideration to make sure that it's good on all different platforms for the audience to watch.
Yeah, like I've had experience with that, like Spotify, how they have like the equalizer settings. Yeah, like definitely I would like on my phone, like it would sound different, but then like in one car it would sound completely different, and I change it up, and then I would go in a different car, and then it would sound completely different. I'm like, this is not. And I would have
Spotify does something weird with audio too. Like they normalize it to what is -14 LUFS in audio terms. But it like like a lot of platforms like that, it tends to not so much downgrade, but it makes things sound different. And sometimes you'll hear it in your car, and then you hear that same thing in somewhere else, and sometimes it kind of makes it sound a little different. I don't know so much behind all of it. I just know that that's how they kind of do like their normalizing. When you like put your music on Spotify, they already have like a thing that normalizes the audio to set to their standards. And sometimes it kind of sucks, and sometimes it kind of downgrades, or sometimes it makes your noise or your sound a little bit better in certain ways.
I was gonna ask, do you do the same thing where sometimes you take like you wait until the next day so you get a fresh pair of like
all the
ears
time
to like look at it again
all the time,
and then
especially if I'm like working constantly and listening to stuff. I always get to that point that my ears get fatigued, where I think at the end of the day, I think it sounds good and I'm all happy about it, and I wake up the next day to listen to it and everything just sounds really bad. I always make sure I do like a double quality check, especially before I export, to make sure everything sounds good. But I also have the issue, and this is more like my personal problem, like I over criticize a lot of my work too much. So even if I get it to the point that I think it sounds good, and then like I'll listen to it hours later or the next day, I'm like, oh, it's not good enough. So what I usually do is I'll make like I'll do like a save as, so I have that version, and then I'll go to like other different versions. And then the worst part is when you come to realize that your second mix was better than your 130th mix.
That part.
You mentioned that, like I'll be like, oh yeah, I do whatever I do. Next following day I see it again, I'm like, oh boy, that's dog shit. I've done it so many times where like there'll be certain scripts I'll be writing, and I'll be like, yeah, I like how this is going. I read it again, and I'll be like, why did I put that? Like, what's wrong with you?
There's a whole lot of forks in the roads that I've learned, especially because if you're doing something that is it's crafty and it's your art, like I feel like that's kind of normal that you try to. I think you tend to over criticize a little bit. Is like a natural type thing. But yeah, it sucks when there's so many forks in the roads only to find out that like your first or second thing was better than everything else. Because that happens to me a lot, where I'll get in like my natural zone, but then if I start going too far off and not realizing it, then that's what happens. That's why I have so many different takes, because I started falling off and not focusing on like the real important thing. Like I play guitar, for example. So if I'm recording or mixing music, I'm getting better at this, but I can't help. I have the natural thing that I want to keep the guitars more important out of all the other instruments. And I think it's just because me being like that type of guitarist. So it's like trying to get away from that mentality and just get to the real bigger picture. You want to make sure everything sounds good. So yeah, I get a lot of those issues all the time. But
there is such thing as like a little bit of like I don't know how to actually say it, but it's like a blindness to it. Like when
it's like a favoritism to something that
you
like.
Yeah, you just like once you're just so used to it, you don't really see it. Like when you walk into a Subway and you smell it, right? But after 5 minutes into making your Subway, you don't smell the Subway smell like that.
Yeah.
You get I never really thought of Subway that way. I'm just there for a sandwich. I'm out.
Subway came to mind. Maybe I'm just hungry, guys.
Sort of like a sensory overload, I would say.
It's like I said, it's like a strength and a weakness at the same time, because in the end I keep pushing to make sure I push something out that I truly like. Just the bad part is I can I get really hard on myself in some situations, especially when I'm trying to execute what I want and it's not coming out how I want, and it gets pretty frustrating. You just got to keep going at it, take a break, go at it. So that's why it kind of goes back to the whole my ears get really fatigued if I'm focused on something and expecting that that's going to be the final mix. I always do like a quality check after another quality check, just to make sure everything comes out how I want it to be.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely get that too when I'm drawing, and I will draw for 5 hours, and I'll have to sit down after those 5 hours. I'm like, okay, I'm completely done. But I think we'll kind of wrap up this episode. And I really like that we have like 3 different views of like the actual production
Mhm.
setup, because like many of us, like, we know what each other does, but we don't know like the technical aspects of it. But like when everything comes together, it's just like making magic sort of kind of thing.
Yeah,
And that's
and
what I
everyone
really
behind the scenes and this whole production. Again, shout out to the behind the scenes crew.
Shout
shout
out
out
to
to behind
Hey,
the scenes.
But you know, like, and yeah, you have a bunch of people here that all do to all different things, and like you said,
Yeah.
all just
Yeah,
connects
yeah.
together and makes
Everything.
you know, it's fun working on this production with everyone.
Mhm. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
We
just-
love having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we love having you two here as well.
Oh, okay. I
Thank
thought
you
we
guys
were
for
included,
coming.
but
Aw,
all right.
damn. Stop.
It just
Stop, Dre. Sheesh.
We need you
You're gonna
guys.
cheer up.
All right. So yeah, I think that will conclude this
all right.
episode. Let's play the jazz man.
Jazz man out.
Jazz man, do your
Jazz
thing.
it out. I feel like just like right here.
Thank you for joining the Nobodies Podcast. This is John Ontiveros signing out.
Okay.
Hope you all have a
Bye,
lovely
everybody.
day.
The Nobodies Podcast is filmed at the Garcia Center for the Arts in San Bernardino, California. We'd like to thank all the Inland Empire artists who have donated their art to be a part of this set. Also, special thanks to Apex Lighting Grip. Thank you very much.